In the headlines, Niger junta ends mandates of ambassadors to US, France, Nigeria and Togo as peace talks fail. President Tinubu withdraws nomination of Mariam Shetty, announces appointment of Festus Keyamo. NLC threatens another strike over federal government's contempt charges. And on the international scene, Ethiopia declares state of emergency following clashes in Amhara. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Now the news in detail. The military junta in Niger Republic has cut off ties with Nigeria after the efforts of the Economic Community of West African States to resolve the ongoing impasse failed. ECOWAS had issued a 7-day ultimatum for the reinstatement of President Mohamed Bazoum to avoid possible clash with the junta. President Bola Tinubu had sent a high-powered delegation led by former head of state General Abdesalami Abubakar to the country to meet with the coup leaders on Thursday. The delegation only met with representatives of the junta. Subsequently, Niger severed ties with Nigeria, Togo, France, its colonizer, and the United States. Media reports quote one of the coup leaders as saying the functions of the extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassadors of the Republic of Niger to France, Nigeria, Togo, and the United States are terminated. In the same vein, Arewa Consultative Forum, a pan-northern socio-political group, has advised the ECOWAS against use of force to oust the military junta in Niger Republic. This is contained in a statement by the ACF Secretary General Murtala Aliyu in Kaduna. While condemning the coup and calling for the restoration of democratic governance in Niger, the forum said it supports the position to restore democratic rule in Niger. The statement, however, said the ECOWAS should toe the path of dialogue and diplomacy and not use of force in resolving the current impasse in Niger in the interest of peaceful coexistence with the brotherly neighbor and stability of the ECOWAS region. ACF said Nigeria and Niger share a long historical border of more than 1,500 kilometers with families, communities, sharing common facilities including farmlands, markets, cultural bonds and languages for many centuries, predating the trans-Saharan trade and colonial times. The forum noted that the measures being contemplated by the ECOWAS should take into consideration the historical antecedents and mutual interest of the two countries and weighed the consequences of the use of force. Now, earlier we had Daily Trust reporter on the foreign desk, Joshua Odeyemi, via phone, and he had this to say.
Yeah, the junta this morning announced that they are severing their relationship with these countries, especially Nigeria. I know the president of Nigeria has been leading the ECOWAS team. That they have discharged some sanctions to Niger Republic and, of course, contemplating military action in case the junta there refuse to restate the democratically elected president. And they've seen Nigeria as one of their enemies who they need to face headlong. And I think this is the first step to show Nigeria that they are actually not backing out. About 2 days ago, yesterday, Nigeria cut power. Nigeria supply more than 70% of the electricity needs in Niger Republic. So they cut the power yesterday, and it shows that the sanctions threatened by ECOWAS are actually playing out already. So this is their own first move to show that they are really serious with taking over power in Niger Republic.
Niger's ousted leader, Mohamed Bazoum, has urged the U.S. and the entire international community to help restore constitutional order after last week's coup. President Mohamed Bazoum made the call in an opinion piece published by the Washington Post. He said he was writing as a hostage. Bazoum also warned that the region could fall further under Russian influence via the Wagner Group, which already operates in the neighboring countries. BBC also reports that Niger's ambassador to the U.S., Kiari Liman Tingwiri, told AFP news agency that the junta should come to reason and realize that the affair cannot succeed. Bazoum warned the entire Central Sahel region could fall to Russian influence via the Wagner Group, whose brutal terrorism has been on full display in Ukraine. Niger is a significant uranium producer, a fuel that is vital for nuclear power, and under Bazoum, the country was a key Western ally in the fight against insurgents in West Africa's Sahel region. Many supporters of the coup in Niger have been chanting pro-Russian slogans and wearing the colors of the Russian flag. President Bola Tinubu has nominated former Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, as minister. The president also withdrew the ministerial nomination of Mariam Shetty from Kano and replaced her with Dr. Maria Mahmoud. Tinubu announced this in a letter addressed to Senate President Godswill Akpabio and read during plenary on Friday. In the meantime, the Senate has justified the bow-and-go privilege accorded members of Parliament who appear before the Senate for confirmation of appointments. Speaking Friday at the resumption of ministerial screening, Senate leader Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele said since the Red Chamber knows the antecedents and capacity of parliamentarians who are nominated as ministers, it would be a sheer waste of time to subject them to thorough grilling. He said the practice of bow-and-go privilege extended to legislators is a global practice, not limited to Nigerian parliament. The Niger State Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Haliru Zakari G. Kantoro, has resigned. G. Kantoro announced his resignation after an emergency meeting with other state officials of the party held at the party secretariat in Minna. Speaking after the meeting, G. Kantoro also announced that Niger North Vice Chairman Alhaji Aminu Bobi as the acting chairman, saying that he believed that his exit would bring better fortunes to the party in the state. Though he said his resignation was on personal grounds, some insiders say that it was due to the prolonged frictions between him and the governor since the primaries. The Nigeria Labour Congress Thursday said it would commence a nationwide strike on August 14, 2023, should the Federal Ministry of Justice fail to withdraw the lawsuit filed against the organized labor. The NLC made the decision during its National Executive Council meeting, which was held in Abuja. According to a statement signed by the National President, Joe Ajero, the Ministry of Justice and National Industrial Court have continued to allow themselves to be used as agents of anti-democracy. The center noticed that though it's agreed to suspend protests based on its meeting with the president, it will embark on a nationwide strike starting from August 14, 2023, should the government fail to withdraw the lawsuit filed against it. Highlighting the decisions of the NEC, Ajero said the NEC resolved to support and affirm the decision to suspend further protests on the nationwide mass protest, to commit to maintaining the required vigilance needed to hold government accountable on its assurances and governance in general, to commit to the terminal date of August 19, 2023, within which the issues around the petroleum price hike will be agreed, given the assurances of the President and the National Assembly. Benue State Governor Reverend Hyacinth Alia on Thursday met with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the presidential villa, where he urged the federal government to prioritize the development of agricultural sector in helping Nigeria achieve food security. Speaking to State House correspondents, Aliyah said that Vice President Shettima, who has strong leaning towards agricultural needs, should support the Benue State government as the food basket of the nation in achieving high level of food production in the state and the country. Governor Aliyah also speaks on the emergence of Abdullahi Ganduje as the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress.
came to the villa just to pay homage to the Vice President. He's been very supportive of Benue. He has a very good passion for the state. He's someone who's leaning it's in agriculture as well. And remember, Benue is the food basket of the nation. So we need everyone with the thinking, with the actions, and that can help us to move from grace to grace, in terms of food security, and basic state security. This regime, this renewed hope we all have to make our nation continually great, and it's nothing less that is expected, from the new leadership either.
The Zamfara state government has approved the immediate distribution of foodstuff across the 14 local government areas as palliatives due to the removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. A statement by the spokesperson to the governor, Suleiman Idris, said that the decision to distribute foodstuff is in line with the current economic realities in the country and the commitment of the Zamfara state government to mitigate the effects of the hike in petrol pump price on the citizens. He said that the state government is rolling out plans to make sure that palliatives reach the masses without hitches. The statement also disclosed that phase 1 of the food distribution will commence with rice, maize, among others. Modalities and high-powered committee have been set up for this purpose after the approval of the governor. You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at the delight of road users. Do stay. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us on Trust News Update, a recap of our major stories. We told you that Niger junta ends mandates of ambassadors to US, France, Nigeria and Togo as peace talks fail. You also heard that President Tinubu withdraws nomination of Mariam Shetty, announces appointment of Festus Keyamo. Moving on to health. UNICEF's communications officer in Nigeria, Safiya Akau, has stated that diphtheria has claimed the lives of 122 children in Nigeria as at July 2023. She added that UNICEF is amplifying its efforts to counter the growing outbreak of diphtheria that has affected children in 27 states of Nigeria. Diphtheria is a serious infection caused by strains of bacteria called Corynebacterium diphtheriae that makes a toxin. It can lead to difficulty in breathing, heart rhythms, problems, and death. It usually affects the mucous membranes of the nose and throat, and diphtheria is extremely rare. Akau stated that 3,850 suspected cases of diphtheria were reported as of July, and that 1,387 of the cases were confirmed. She listed states affected as Kano, Yobe, Katsina, Lagos, Sokoto, Zamfara, and the FCT, which accounted for 98% of the suspected cases. She noted that 71.5% of confirmed cases were found in children between the ages of 2 and 14 years. Exactly 10 days after torrential rain washed away the popular Olodo Link Bridge, the state government has opened the 2.5 Oki Road, which is expected to serve as an alternative route to residents and help ease the transportation of goods and services from Olodo to other parts of the state. Commissioner for Works and Public Transport, Professor Dawood Shongodoin, explained that the new road is expected to ameliorate the sufferings experienced by commuters while also assuring of government's commitment at providing quality infrastructure. Our correspondent, who was on the inspection team, has more details in this report.
The events of the last 10 days has left a bitter experience for residents of Olodo, who are yet to come to terms with the harsh reality of being cut off from other communities after their only link bridge was destroyed by heavy floods. A glimmer of hope seems to be in the horizon as the state government is set to open the 2.5 Oki Link Road, expected to convey commuters through Alaka all the way down to Olodo Bank.
What we have done on this road is to do some repairs. It's an old road, and we have on the road a 4 meter width of a bridge, which was constructed during the Western region. And also we have 2 streams, which we have put steel pipe of 6 meter long and 1.2 meter diameter on this route. We do some clarification, and of course we also put some stone base so that it will be passable for our people.
The opening of the alternative route is not cherry news to some residents who believe the road was not properly constructed and might not stand the test of time.
They have already abandoned this road before, but this road is the general road that we are using before since 1980. The bailout road, I think, is good, but it's not all that good enough, because if you see the place very near the bridge, there are some places where they have to cover, because if the rain falls now, it will just wash all this thing away.
Others have the opinion that the Oki Link Road would for sure wipe away the unpleasant memories of the past few days.
Alternative road they make for us because it's very tough, right? For the past a week now, I've been dropping my cars the other side of the road there. So when they make this alternative road, I see this as an opportunity for us to be able to move the way we are moving before.
The construction is ongoing, and the the people in the neighborhood, they are happy for the new development, and they hope soon or sooner enough they will get it complete.
Authorities here have assured that they would continue to monitor events as they unfold in the Olodo community, even as they strive to provide quality infrastructure to all residents of Oyo State.
Now away from Nigeria, Ethiopia's federal government on Friday declared a state of emergency following days of clashes in the Amhara region between the military and local armed fighters. It did not say whether the restriction applied only in Amhara or across the country. Fighting that broke out across Ethiopia's second most populous region earlier this week between the Fano militia and the Ethiopian National Defense Force has quickly become a security crisis. Fano, a part-time militia with no formal command structure, backed federal troops in a 2-year civil war in the neighboring Tigray region that ended with a truce last November. But the relationship has soured over what some in the region say is a disregard by the national government for Amhara's security. The state of emergency allows, among other things, for roadblocks to be established, transport services to be disrupted, curfews to be imposed, and for the military to take over in certain areas. 3 years after hundreds of people were killed in the port blast that devastated Beirut, religious leaders and rights groups decry the lack of accountability among political leaders who stymied the official investigation. Friday marks the anniversary of the enormous blast on August 4, 2020, which destroyed swaths of the Lebanese capital, killing more than 220 people and injuring at least 6,500 others. Authorities at the time said the disaster was triggered by a fire in a warehouse where a vast stockpile of industrial chemical ammonium nitrate had been haphazardly stored for years. 3 years on, the probe is virtually at a standstill, leaving survivors still yearning for answers. Lebanese and international organizations, survivors and families of victims on Thursday sent an appeal to the United Nations Human Rights Council, saying that on the 3rd anniversary of the explosion, they are no closer to justice and accountability for the catastrophe. Now in sports, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has confirmed defender Josko Vardiol is having a medical and should complete his move from RB Leipzig in the next hour. City have agreed a €770 million fee for the 22-year-old Croatian international. Guardiola, 52, was also asked about the futures of Kyle Walker and Bernardo Silva. Bayern Munich are keen to sign England defender Walker, 33, whilst Portugal winger Silva, 28, has attracted huge interest from the Saudi Pro League, in addition to long-time admirers Barcelona. And finally, in sports, France international defender Axel Disasi has joined Chelsea from Monaco on a 6-year contract for €45 million. Disasi, 25, offers defensive cover at Stamford Bridge after Wesley Fofana sustained a serious knee injury. He played in all 38 of Monaco's League One games last season. Disasi has played 4 times for France, including featuring as a substitute in the 2022 World Cup final defeat against Argentina, and made 129 appearances for Monaco after joining from Stade de Reims in August 2020. The centre-back becomes Chelsea's 6th signing of the summer following the acquisitions of Christopher Nkunku, Nicholas Jackson, Leslie Ugochukwu, Angelo Gabriel, and Diego Moreira, as new manager Mauricio Pochettino continues to put his stamp on the squad. Disasi will compete with fellow central defenders Thiago Silva, Trevor Chalobah, and Levi Colwill. Chelsea's pre-season fixtures concluded on Sunday with a 1-1 draw against Borussia Dortmund in Chicago, ending their US tour undefeated And the focus now turns to their opening Premier League game of 2023-2024 at home to Liverpool on 13th August. Pochettino has been tasked with overhauling the squad while also trying to vastly improve on last season's 12th place finish in the Premier League. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.